Oh, breaking news into the First Things First news desk via Twitter. Woj reporting the Wizards are sending CP3 to Golden State.
Man, he gets traded a lot for a guy who was waived 2 weeks ago.
Jordan Poole going to Washington. Brew, feels like you've got mixed feelings about this. You're a resident Warriors fan.
Yeah, I don't love it because I think you could have, with all due respect to the great Chris Paul, I mean, obviously he's, 38, and he's injury prone at this point. Is he starting? I assume he's coming off the bench. They play an offense that I don't know that he fits. So, like, they're going to be moving. You know, Chris isn't going to be running around like Steph and Clay do. No. And if you just put the ball in his hands, I guess you figure, okay, Steph can, get a lot of shots. But Draymond has the ball in his hands. And Chris is very vocal in that locker room. He's a great leader. Will him and Draymond clash? There hasn't been anybody there to challenge Draymond like that. Right? I mean, so I think I'm down with trading Jordan Poole. I'm glad they did that because I think you need to get the stench of the incident with Draymond out of there. Now it's gone.
Also, so you can't asterisk real quick on that point. They're trying to sign Draymond to a new contract. As long as Jordan Poole's there, the contract number is going to have to start at $1 more than Jordan Poole. Now Jordan Poole's gone, and now maybe $25 million a year or something like that is more palatable. Since when Poole's making $32 million, you can't ask Draymond to take less than that. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, look. I wanted them to use Poole to get more depth, and which theoretically you did with Chris, but is he going to be healthy and bigger? Now I don't know if Poole could have got him size, but they need size. Maybe that they'll go out and get it. But I just think I would have liked to have seen, Poole and something else for Porzingis. Like that type of size would be great in Golden State, not to mention he can shoot, he can post. But I don't love it.
Well, I think it's pretty clear they could have gotten Porzingis.
If they could have gotten Porzingis for Poole, gosh, I would have liked that.
I guess the question is, do you think Washington would have preferred Tyus Jones, you know what I mean? But they obviously are fine with Poole's contract because they're taking
Poole's
it on.
Going to be. So I think it's good for them. Like, Poole's going to go there and give them 23 or more points per game. Now, I'm not saying he's like a great winning player, but I think he's entertaining, fun to watch. I think it'll be good.
So from the Warriors' perspective, I give them credit for a couple reasons. One is this is quadrupling down on the tail end of Steph's prime.
Well, you knew they were doing that, though.
Well, no, I didn't.
You didn't think they were going to? Why not?
Well, I didn't know they were going to go get a 38-year-old who makes $30 million and get rid of one of their young guys who theoretically they believed in as recently as a year ago. So I give them credit for saying we have one of the greatest players ever. He was awesome last year, and it wasn't enough. This guy, even though we invested in him, and he's one of our draft successes, given where he was drafted and the player he showed he was the year we won the title, he was unplayable in the playoffs. So we're bringing this guy in, and my whole Chris Paul should only play, start the season on Christmas and all that. I don't think that will actually happen in Golden State, but I think he will have so many nights off. He will be the freshest he's been at any point of his career. So for the Warriors, I give them credit. I give Mike Dunleavy Jr., I guess, is running things now. It's crazy because I read so many articles that the whole thing was going to fall apart when Bob Myers left.
Oh,
Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s done a good job. Go ahead.
Before you go on, do you think this is a fork-in-the-road moment for the Warriors' long-term plan that they always had this?
Two tracks.
That's over.
That's done now.
That's over. And I think maybe some of the depth you're talking about, Brew, comes in trading the other two, one of the other or both of the other two young guys.
But they better get size.
Kuminga's now 7.
Well, Kuminga is size.
7'4".
Every
day he grows.
But you know what I mean? That you.
So you like it?
So no, I do like it for the Warriors. I don't like it for Chris.
Come on.
So this is what I was saying during the break, and you said just save it. All right. This is I know how this is going to sound when I say it. But it's how I truly believe. I want Chris Paul to win a ring. I don't think they're going to win a ring, but in Golden State, but you can't dismiss it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to dismiss it. This would feel like a tough one to win.
A Dwight Howard Lakers ring?
No, not that. Which, no, because you said when I said it, you were like Jason Kidd with the Mavs or something. Not that. This was one of the reasons you don't have a ring is this team. They kept beating you. That's
Kevin Durant's situation.
I get that too, and we still
over and over.
And then right, I mean, they beat you when you were at the Clippers. They beat you when you were at the Rockets. They kept beating you. You and Steph had like a kind of like shadow rivalry of Chris. People close to Chris will always say he always thought he was better, all this stuff. And now you're it just feels. It's not just like the old guy going somewhere, but it's weird that it's that team.
If they win it next year, we'll all say it's great that Chris Paul got his ring. But he's not going to be I'm guessing he's not going to start. It's not going to be like he led.
You don't think he'll start?
I don't know, but it's still, even if he does start, he's not going to be like a huge player. I mean, he'll be a good role player for them. That's what he's going to be. Maybe you didn't like the Jason Kidd in Dallas ring, Gary Payton in Miami. I mean, this isn't a ring that makes us go, Chris got a ring.
No, I get that.
Chris led. Yes, he'll have a championship, but
you don't think
unless he goes out there and has a great year.
55 games, and he played like 30 minutes a game this past year. If he gets down to 22 minutes a game and contributes the whole year.
And is a role player like averaging what, 10 and
8,
5? He's going to average 8 assists for that team. With Draymond Green having the ball in his hand.
Oh, you're saying
with
he's going to average less.
No,
you're probably right.
I mean, I don't know what's he like. I said, is he coming off the bench? What are his numbers?
It's less about role and more about rival, and that's.
I don't think that's an issue.
And I also, this happened 8 minutes ago, so we're all processing it in real time. Are we certain that there's not massive moves coming with Golden State? Like, are we certain that
Draymond, you're saying?
Well, Clay. Are we certain?
Here's the thing. Let's assume what you're saying is right, and maybe they moved on from Clay. Are they going to a different type of offense? Because I don't know. Like, I don't want to. If I'm Golden State, I don't want to just put the ball in Chris's hands and say Steph's our 2. And because I don't think Draymond fits into that type of system. Steph, yes, he can play it, but I don't think
the Chris Paul wrinkle.
They didn't even want to run the high pick and roll repeatedly when they had Steph and Kevin Durant, which could have been like it was whenever they ran it, it was basically unguardable. And I know Warriors fans, even though they won all the championships while those guys were together, except for when KD got hurt, would be frustrated with Kerr. Why don't we run this more? And it's like this beautiful basketball, kind of their own version, retooled of what the Spurs were doing, the motion and the ball movement and all of that. So that is.
They went that route against the Lakers. Traditional
out of
Steph
raw necessity.
Right.
And it's not what they. So it is odd. It is undeniable. We've never seen Chris Paul in any type of offense like this. And people were like, well, what about when he was in Houston? In Houston, it was weird because he didn't always have the ball in his hands.
And he played well. I will give him
that. Right,
but
they were still running pick and roll. You know what I mean? It was Harden running it, and then he would run it. It was just he didn't have the ball. So they won 65 games. They were up 3-2 on these Warriors on KD and Steph's Warriors till he tweaked his hamstring. It's just it's an odd and very sudden pivot for Golden State in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways that Jordan Poole, who they thought was worth this huge contract extension,
you could have got more for him.
Is now. Well, that's the other piece of it. Like, even though I don't think Jordan Poole is, at this point of his career, a winning player. I understand he won a championship, so it sounds odd, but it's just how I feel from watching him. But it is odd that guy who, again, a year ago, you invested this in, you are now essentially trading him for what you hope is 1 year of Chris Paul. Like, it's not like
it's almost like they wanted to keep Chris away from the Lakers.
Oh, I mean. All right, Broussard, close us out with a number here. Jordan Poole averages how many points next year on the Bradley Beal-less, Porzingis-less Wizards team?
And Tyus is
that's their
25.
Tyus Jones and Jordan Poole's their backcourt.
Yeah. I think he's going to light it up, man.
I'll take the over for the opposing team's backcourt every night.
He'll still get 28. All right, we're
Poole's
talking.
going to put up numbers, though.
Dame next.
Oh, yeah. No, that's his destiny. Good stats, bad team. That's what Jordan Poole's.
He does have a ring.
I understand.
Yeah, playing with house money at this point.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.